It is characteristic that contemporary middle class opinion saw no incompatibility between the principle of equality before the law and the deliberately discriminatory labour codes, which, as in the British Master and Servant Code of 1823, punished the workers by prison for breaches of contract and the employers merely by modest fines, if at all. They ought to be constantly on the verge of starvation because otherwise they would not work, being inaccessible to human motives. It is to the interest of the worker himself, Villermé was told in the late 1830s by employers, that he should be constantly harassed by need, for then he will not set his children a bad example and his poverty will be a guarantee of good behavior. There were nevertheless too many poor for their own good, but it was to be hoped that the operations of Malthus' law would starve off enough of them to establish a viable maximum, unless, of course, per absurdum, the poor established their own rational checks on population by refraining from an excessive indulgence in procreation. It was but a small step from such an attitude to the formal recognition of inequality, which, as Henri Baudrillard argued in his inaugural lecture at the Collège de France in 1853, was one of the three pillars of human society, the other two being property and inheritance. The hierarchical society was thus reconstructed on the foundations of formal equality. It had merely lost what made it tolerable in the old way is in the old ways, the general social conviction that men had duties and rights, that virtue was not simply the equivalent of money, and that the lower order, though low, had a right to their modest lives in the station to which God had called them.